back here again. Oh, the long-awaited, hold on, let me look at my epic board. Third episode of Pasta with Mold in it. Wow, crazy. I'm Gigi Star. You might know that, you might not. And I have a bestie with me.
Hi, I'm Absol. That's Toby.
I can't, I'm not too sure I have the audio mixing expertise to remove the sound of dog, but, you know, sorry.
He's too powerful.
He's far too powerful for me, and I'm but a newbie. Okay.
Who hates Clockwork?
Yeah, oh, speaking of, yeah, we're reading Clockwork, your time is up. See, don't you have some lore relating to this,
Me? Oh, yeah. When I was little, I loved Tiki Toby, and I had it out for Clockwork because they got like shipped together all the time, so I hated her guts.
Honestly, you were so fucking real for that. I think we're gonna read, like, this is a very weird thing. I think we're gonna read like a paragraph each.
Okay.
So do you have the thing up?
Yeah, I have it up.
Okay, I'm gonna start then. Smiles.
Smiles.
A little girl sat in her room. Her messy brown hair were put into little pigtails as her hazel eyes stared at the door. She hugged her stuffed giraffe close to her little body and listened closely to the loud yells of her father and mother. I never should have had any damned kids, screamed a loud, deep voice. All they do is make messes, complain, draw on the walls. He was cut off by the high, angered yell of the girl's mother. That's the wrong there. That's the wrong there. They're children, David. They don't know any better. Oh, fuck me, Maribeth. Her name's fucking Maribeth. Oh my god. I don't want to hear your bullshit excuses. I just had about enough of them. That's really funny. And what do you plan to do about it? The girl heard loud footsteps coming towards her room, and she hugged her giraffe closer. The door was violently opened, and in the doorway stood her large, angry, overweight father. In one of his meaty hands, he held a large textbook. What is he gonna do? Beat her with a book? Oh, David, stop it, screamed her mother. But the father ignored his wife's pleading cries. He grabbed the little girl by the collar and he screamed and kicked, trembling and shaking in fear. The girl's father harshly held up the textbook. This is for drawing my fucking walls, you little bitch.
Fuck this kid in particular.
That's so fucked up. That's one way to start a story, I guess. Alright, next one is you.
Okay. This one's pretty long, yeah. Years later, the little girl known as Natalie was now 9 years old. Going through the stage of puberty, she was naturally a little chubby. Like the usual, she sat in her room, watching TV. Her dad was ranting on about some economic crap that she really couldn't give less of a shit about, as she munched on some popcorn. She was also currently drawing a picture. There was a bit of gore in it, but she really liked drawing blood. It gave her some weird satisfaction. I'm not like the other girls.
I hate, like, drunk people's heads getting ripped off.
Other than that, multitasking was no problem for her. It became apparent to her at a young age, after having to do so much hard work and labor, that she was able to do many things at once. Drawing ended up being her talent and passion. It was her way of escaping from reality. Whenever something bad would rear its ugly head in here, or when she was simply bored. Sorry, I haven't had to read in like a long ass time.
No, that's fine. If you want to, like, hand it off to me at some point, let me know.
Oh, I'll finish this paragraph. She suddenly heard the door closing. She suddenly heard the closing of her door, and looked to the left, pausing on munching her popcorn. There stood her brother Lucas, who was 14 years old.
That's fucked
up.
What
is it? She could still hear her father's yelling from outside the door. Dad scaring you? He let out a chuckle. No way. I think we're both used to his yelling by now. There was a long pause. So why are you here? He seemed to play with his sleeve slightly, with it and twitch a bit. I have to ask you something. He trained his eyes on her. She frowned slightly, growing impatient with her brother interrupting her moving and drawing. What? He moved a little closer. You said you wanted to be cool and grow up like a teenager, right? Oh, fuck her.
Oh no. Oh
no. She nodded, slightly brightened up suddenly. Well, I have an offer. Just spit it out, you dimwit. You know what guys and girls do together sometimes, right? The next day at school, Natalie did not say a word. She did not speak for the whole day. She didn't have anyone to speak to anyways. Nobody could know. Nobody should know, and so nobody would know. Thanks. Her teacher picked up on a few of the puzzled expressions, but she dismissed it as if she just did not understand the lesson. Natalie also felt as if she was in severe pain. She had no idea it could hurt. Feeling scared, she walked home and suddenly went to her room. But later in the day, she was once again worried about her brother. Nobody would know.
Why would you write this? Why would you write this?
I don't know. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, me too. What the fuck? Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh, what the fuck?
Weird, bro.
Ugh.
Kill yourself!
I need the person who originally wrote this to, like, jump off a cliff in Minecraft in Fortnite.
For real. At school, she finally decided to tell someone, even though they weren't her friends. She just felt like she had to. She walked up to a group of girls she would occasionally see in the hallway. They looked like nice girls. And them and Natalie had occasionally talked before. Hey, Mia. The ginger girl looked at Natalie, having a straight face. Yeah? I really have to talk to you about something. It's been going for a while, and you and your friends, I feel like you're the only people I can trust. Me and her friends seemed to pull little smokes, but only for a moment. Little did Natalie know that they were hungry for gossip. Alright, you can trust us. What's up? One day later was all it took. She had been getting constant remarks on social networking sites such as Facebook. One time somebody even called her a whore.
Aged.
Yeah.
Ain't she like 9?
I think so, probably. Not to mention, their lunch had ended up getting in her hair. It was going to be the least of her problems, but Natalie, being only 9, could not help but be greatly upset at this fact. However, she did not cut, she did not peep, she never said a word about it. As you may recall, for so far in this journey, she had kept everything inside. She supposed it was better. She wouldn't let any pain get the best of her.
3 a.m.
Your turn.
School night. Her mother was going to kill her. Great. The girl known as Natalie was now 16. She was productive in high school, close to the honor roll. For once, she felt calm and happy, though like the usual, she would occasionally become a hermit in her room, hiding away from her dad who still liked to constantly yell and baby about the economy and money and politics and all the bullshit she was flat out tired of hearing. Oh, she would hate Twitter. I don't think it was invented by the time this was up. Her eyes started to feel heavy. She had an assignment to work on, but that was no longer important to her. All that was on her mind was sleep. Okay, so I need you guys to know that in a lot of this story, there is, like, some of these, sentences, there's no space between, one of them and the other. There's a period, of course, but, like, you know, it's kind of funny. It's just a little funny. She closed her laptop, and after her eyes adjusted to the darkness slightly, she saw her old, worn-down stuffed giraffe in the corner. She stared at it in complete and utter silence. Memories passed through her mind, and she felt tears come to her eyes. But quickly, she blinked them back. No more breaking, she thought to herself, but she continued to stare at it. What the fuck are you looking at? She said to the stuffed object. It simply stared back with soft, black, beady eyes. She shook her head. That's a lowercase s, by the way. But she... and stood up. She looked down sadly at the little toy animal and gently picked it up in her arms. She cradled it and softly spoke to it. I'm sorry. Some tears ran down her face. She pet its rough, short fur softly. As she lied on her bed, she slowly went to sleep. She was woken up by the angry growls of her mother. She tiredly opened one of her eyes. I can't believe I forgot to take that laptop away. You were on it all night, weren't you? Natalie sighed and pressed her face deeper to the pillow, hugging her giraffe closer. Her mother sighed and walked out. She took a shower, brushed her teeth, ate some breakfast, and then got dressed. She put on a gray/blue hoodie with fur on the inside and the hood. Oh, that's how you know she's a creepypasta OC. She's got a hoodie. It wasn't her favorite, but it was the only one she could wear to school due to the others being in the wash. She also put on black jeans and some thin, fashionable boots. Do you think it was Uggs? Do you think she put on Uggs?
Probably.
That's fucked up. She then finally went down the stairs to get driven to school. She hopped into the car and her mom sped off towards the school. However, on the way there, due to lack of sleep, she slowly put her head against the window of the car and started to drift off. Her dreams, or nightmares, I should say, consisted of her physical abuse as a child. Secondly, the sexual abuse from her own brother Lucas that lasted for 4 years before she had the guts to turn him off. She started twitching and cringing in her sleep, but her mother took no notice. Her mother never took notice. She was suddenly sharply awoken by the sound of her mother. "We're here," having an annoyed tone, most likely from her sleeping. She looked at a large sign of the school that read, Walkerville Collegiate Institute for the Creative Fine Arts. Well, look at you going to art school. She sighed tiredly and stepped out, putting her backpack on her shoulder. I'm pretty sure backpack is supposed to be one word.
I think maybe.
There's not a lot of like incredibly funny typos that I can laugh at in this story. It's written half decently, but you know.
Yeah.
See ya, she proclaimed, closing the car door. Manhook hand car door ma'am. She walked into the school and chatted with a couple friends until she went up to her locker on the 3rd floor. She grabbed her books, and before the 5 minutes of time was over, she ran to class. Her English teacher annoyingly put her hand on Natalie's desk. "Where's your assignment, Miss..." I'm gonna fuck that one up. Owlette, Natalie swallowed. I forgot it at home, Miss... Homestuck? Sure, Miss Homestuck, she growled and stood. "Your time is up, Miss Owlette. Don't disappoint me." Natalie seemed puzzled by the thought for a moment. God, time is up! That's holy shit! Natalie seemed puzzled by the thought for a moment. She didn't know why, but those words seemed to melt through her. She simply ignored it and went back to listening to the lesson, falling asleep not too long after. That's the wrong too, of course. Later that day, she was heading to her locker for 4th period when suddenly her boyfriend Chris came up to her. "Hey, talk to me after school, alright?" She smiled, loving to talk to Chris. I'd assume so. If you didn't love talking to your boyfriend, I'd be, like, really worried.
Oh my god, is it Chris Griffin?
Yeah. Dude, this is, like, canon to Family Guy.
Hey, talk to me after school, alright? I don't know how he sounds.
Though strangely, she didn't suspect anything. He was always such a sweet guy. During her French class, of course, fucking course she has French class, she dared not to pay attention. Instead, she doodled the things she loved to draw. Blood, gore, people being stabbed, knives, and macabre things of the such. Oh my god, she's drawing an average day in London.
For real!
Other people would say it was pretty dark of her to draw such things, but she saw nothing wrong with it. For a strange reason, it actually felt like a normal thing to her. Miss Owlette, she quickly covered her doodle on her paper and looked up to her French teacher quickly, trying to hide her fear. Yes, Miss Lavassier? I think I'm not saying that right. I fucked that up. I don't give a shit. He gestured for her to move her arm with a slight turn of his head. "Show me your work." She hesitantly moved her arm to show the picture of someone getting stabbed by an insane man. That's the funniest way you could fucking put it. I'm sorry.
For real.
The teacher stood puzzled, looking at her a bit. She smiled nervously. "Erase that and get started on your work," he said in a strangely calm voice. He walked away, and she sighed and began to erase the picture. That is like the most normal, calm way you could have handled that shit. And Miss Owlette, she looked up at him slightly. "Your time is almost up on getting your work done. I suggest doing it now." Oh, they forgot the fucking... Okay, one, holy shit, she said the thing! But also, they forgot the quotation marks again.
Oh my god. Wait,
Yeah, they did. I forgot to mention it. Sorry, guys. LOL. Time seemed to always be against her. As far as she could care, time could go fuck itself. Whoa, man. It's kind of mean to time. Time will pass as always. After class, she walked out of the school to find her boyfriend standing near the fence on the sidewalk. She smiled and walked over, hoping her day could at least be cheered up by him. But as she walked closer, her smiling slowly faded. He wasn't smiling back. "Chris, what's wrong? What do you want to talk to me about?" He sighed. "Natalie, I think it's time that we should start seeing other people." She felt her heart break. "But why?" He gave her a bit of a stern look. "It's your mindset, your drawings. They just creep me out. I think there's something really wrong with you."
take your normal pills.
Okay, I need to interject real quick with some Gigi lore. when I was in first grade, nobody fucking liked me, and my only friend was some like fifth grader. And she was the only person I would ever talk to because she was the only person that gave a shit about me. And then at some point on the bus home, she was like, I think we should see other people. And I was like, yay! What does that mean? Because I thought it said we should make more friends.
Oh no!
I still sat next to her until, like, you know, she told me that she had Alexandria's Genesis. Anyways, let me continue. And the saddest part is why you haven't told me why you're acting like this. It makes me feel irresponsible, so I just can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. And with that, he began to walk away. It's your turn, Smiles.
Okay, wait, let me see how long this paragraph is. Oh, damn.
If you want me to, like, cut it and do like half of it, I can.
Yeah. Okay. Natalie slammed her hands on the bathroom counter at home. She stared at herself in the mirror, her eye twitching. I won't hurt myself like the others. I can stay strong. There was a needle and black thread in her hand. It's pointless. It doesn't help. Some weird sensation pulled at her subconscious. She chuckled slightly. No, I'm doing it because I want to. She held the noodle with thread at the end of it and smirked widely. Time is up. Piece after piece, cut after cut. Even though excruciating pain was going through her, she did not whine, she did not whimper, she did not cry. There were no more tears to shred. All she did was smile. Blood leaked from the pierces and made a slow dripping noise into the sink and onto the counter. When she was finished, she stood back and admired her handiwork. She stroked the horrendous stitches on the sides of her mouth that spread into a wide smile.
Oh, no shit, she gave herself the Paracelsus treatment.
Yo! Let's peek. She felt the warm and wet blood on her fingers and licked it gently, consuming the metallic tasting liquid in pure ecstasy.
I was joking.
Are you yellow by chance? She stopped when she saw her mother's reflection in the mirror behind her. She sharply turned around.
Oh shit, my microphone! Sorry.
Oh, okay. She saw her mother's wide eyes and pale face. She looked at her fingers, seeing the blood. She suddenly felt the pain. She started to cry. Mom? She never felt so confused. What had just happened to her? Her mom had scheduled some therapy for her. Natalie had not gotten rid of the stitches in fear of how much pain it would bring, so she went to the therapist with them. She made sure her hood was up, not letting anyone see. She sat down at the comfortable leather seat and stared at the blonde woman across from her, in silence. So your name is Natalie, isn't it? Natalie just nodded. I'm Deborah. I'm here to help you. Now tell me, what have been some of your problems recently? Natalie stared. Time. Time has been my problem. Deborah gave her a confused look. What about time, dear? Natalie's hands roughly gripped the leather of the seat. Everything. It makes you live through it. Slowly progressing through life, being controlled by society. Society! Only to be tortured for seemingly no end until you find you no longer have a purpose. It's a vicious cycle. Time does not end. It does not slow down. It does not speed up. It is violent. It makes you live through the torture over and over again, unable to fast forward away from it. Natalie really had no idea what she just said. She wasn't like herself anymore. Could this be because of all the things she had kept contained? No, it was impossible. For some reason, she liked it. The therapist leaned closer. Sweetheart, I want you to tell me about what's happened to you. Natalie still stared. There was a long pause. She smirked slightly, the pierces from stitches slightly opening again. Why don't you tell me, Blondie? You're the expert. Deborah seemed to have a bit of an annoyed look. I can't help unless you tell me what's wrong, Natalie. Her fingers started to tear into the leather seating. Natalie isn't here anymore. Deborah's... With that, Deborah's eyes widened. She got up. I'll be right back. Please stay here. She walked out, leaving Natalie alone. Maybe if she'd done something at this point, she wouldn't have come to be what she is today. Maybe more people would be alive, and maybe she would be sane again.
Do you want me to read that?
No, it's just that maybe more people would be alive. She hasn't killed anybody yet.
Oh my gosh, you're right, she hasn't!
Oh well, I guess. As much as I would love to, I would admit that she got from the chair and stopped all this from happening, but I'm obligated to give you the horrid truth. Natalie did not move. She sat perfectly still, perfectly silent, and perfectly calm in that chair. And after a while of waiting and impatience, her parents finally walked in. She stood, happy to go, but she noticed her parents' expressions. Even the father had a strange, saddened look on her face. Confusion grew, but she said no words and followed them to the car. On the way where she thought she was going home, she started to drift off. Eventually, she heard a dark voice in her dream. It sounded almost like herself, echoing into eternal darkness. Your time is up. You can read the rest.
She shot awake, some beads of sweat rolling down her face. She wasn't home. She wasn't in a car. She was in a bed. A white bed in her room. A white room with rats. She looked to her side, seeing she was hooked up to a heart monitor. She went to get up, but suddenly realized she was bonded down. Is that what that means? Is that the right word you're supposed to use there? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't know.
She panicked. Girl, me too. She started to struggle, but paused, hearing a door to her left open. A man in a white shirt looked at her, his hands behind his back. He almost looked like one of those cliche doctors you would find in some scientific lab. Girl, guess where you are? She paid full attention as Mr. Scientist began to speak. Doctor! Absol, every doctor isn't the Torre! You must be very confused right now, I can imagine, but I'm letting you know we're wrong where. You forgot the apostrophe between we and Only here to help. Your parents agreed to sign a contract to give you some mental drugs.
I don't think this is something that happens. I'm not sure about it.
I have the strangest feeling that this is just a little bit unrealistic. I don't know, it's just a hunch.
Oh, well, I guess.
To hopefully help your state of mind, she opened her mouth to protest, but was quickly silenced.
Oh my god, she's actually gonna take normal pills!
You are not normal! You don't need to worry. You'll be back to normal in no time. Just try to relax. He walked over and she tried to skitishly move away, but she couldn't due to the bonds of the leather straps around her wrists and legs. I thought it'd be like wrists and ankles, but okay. He carefully took a mask and put it over her mouth and nose. She stubbornly tried to get it off, but she felt herself starting to slip under the drugs. And her eyes slowly shut. You mean anesthetics? They're putting her under anesthetics? Okay, whatever. Her eyes slowly shut, and suddenly she woke up. My headcanon author forgot what anesthetics were called. She was like, the drugs. I can tell a girl has never been to a fucking dentist before.
Yeah, I'm just in awe over this guy's picture because I haven't said it in like 9 or something years.
Yeah, no, last time I heard this, I was like watching Bad Creepypasta. Go watch Michael Leroy's series, by the way. It's a classic on my fucking Wii U gamepad in like middle school. Was it either middle school or elementary school? One of those.
It's so peak.
It is.
I watched like readings of it on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Oh, God. I've been in the terrible, shitty, awful, no good, very bad creepypasta scene for like years. Not like actually reading them, just like enjoying the content. But you know, anyways, back to the situation at hand. And suddenly she woke up. She couldn't comprehend what the hell she was seeing. Can anyone please explain what the hell is going on here? She was being given multiple injections. Even some things are rubbed on her skin, probably. Just saying. Some things. She felt woozy, but was completely aware of her surroundings. She was entering a rare state in which some patients go through while undergoing surgery. I'm pretty sure you could like search up what that's called, but I guess like you just have to explain that because you're like, I don't know, 14 while reading this. They're able to see as they are being worked on. They can feel the pain. Their brain is active, but they cannot respond. However, she was able to. Oh, she was a special little girl. Or special little creature. Her heart rate on the monitor started to speed up, and the doctors took notice of this. They looked at her, seeing her opened eyes. One of the doctors was yelling at another. She couldn't make out what they were saying, but she suddenly felt a rush of adrenaline. She slowly started to slip through her bonds, shaking violently. If I remember to, I'm just gonna put like a fucking the Dobby gif on here. I hope you know what gif I'm talking about. Absolutely.
Wait, oh yeah,
One of the doctors was going to hold her down, but was suddenly hesitant of doing so, and all three of the doctors backed away. She sat on the edge of the bed now and ripped off the mask and tube from her arm. She got up and started to stumble towards them. Her breath hitched and her vision was blurry. She could make out herself giving off a couple insane chuckles. The smuggling smumbler. But suddenly, she felt a searing pain in her chest. She gripped where her heart would supposedly be and dropped to her knees. She coughed blood and fell to the floor, completely blacking out. Girl, me too. This happens to girls regularly.
Yeah, like the shedding.
The shadow. She woke up slowly and groggily after all that. She was back in the bed. The doctor was sitting beside the bed. Something went horribly wrong. She didn't know why, but she felt a tremendous amount of hatred towards the doctor. He took notice of it and looked away. You weren't supposed to wake up while we were giving the doses for your mental state. We aren't sure how it affected you, but we have a feeling we're going to find out. Where's the apostrophe? Where's the apostrophe, OP? He paused for a second before taking out a small mirror, not looking at her. It happened to have an effect on your periods as well. She looked at herself in the mirror and her eyes widened. Her eyes, they were completely green. Looks at you with my green orbs.
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Guys, I have a feeling this isn't realistic.
What the fuck did they give her?
They gave her slurp juice.
Yo.
They gave her Galvanium. She noticed she still had the stitches. She noticed she still had the stitches in her mouth as well. But for some reason, she couldn't help but feel happy. Girl thinks she's Jeff the Killer. Her heart rate started to increase again. She gave it a low chuckle. That's what it says on the thing, trust me. The doctor looked in shock, seeing she was suddenly already standing over him. Doctor, she said, still chuckling. He trembled slightly, pressing a button from under the monitor. Yes, your time is up. A loud scream was heard through the halls of the apparent quote-unquote hospital. Ugh. Two security guards rushed into the room, kicking open the door. Blood was the first thing I saw. Blood on the walls, on the bed, on the floor, on the ceiling, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. Natalie had taken the doctor and strapped him down on the bed. His spine was completely snapped. Damn. As the bed was bend almost into a sandwich. Likely from the adjustments someone could make to it. Blood poured from his eyes, nose, mouth, and just about every orifice in his body. And there in the corner was the murderer. The murderer.
The killer. The Jeff the Killer.
Happily drawing her gruesome pictures on the wall in blood, she followed by the phrase, your time is up. She slowly turned to look at them. A wide, crazy grin spread across her face. Hello, friends. Would you like to play? The guards quickly pulled out guns when suddenly she charged at one of them, being able to dodge his bullets. She grabbed a large knife from his sheath onto his bucket and slashed it right across his waistline. Blood and organs flooded out. I don't think that's how that works. And he collapsed to the ground. She inhaled deeply, loving the damp stench of death. Okay. The other shook with fear, and he dropped his gun. She slowly walked up to him and placed the tip of the knife to his chest. Your time is up! She slowly slid the knife down his chest, all the way to the end of his gut. His organs spilled out onto the floor as well, and collapsed, dead. Alright?
God. Okay. Natalie's mother was silently sleeping in her bed next to her husband. She woke to the sound of knocking on her door. She groggily got up and walked out of the bedroom to the front door. It was completely pouring outside, and thunder boomed in the distance. She walked up to the door and paused when she was about to grab the knob. There was a faint sound of insane laughter. The rain and thunder seemed to become quiet suddenly. She pressed her ear against the door and listened closely. Hello, Mother! Natalie burst through the door, wielding two knives in hand, which is that fucking awesome, I guess. Her mother stumbled back, hitting her head against the coat rack. One of the hooks broke into her skull, and she bled violently from the back of her head onto the floor. She fell to the ground, paralyzed but still conscious. Natalie towered over her, but slowly knelt to meet the level of her eyes, and showed her two knives covered.
Sorry, I'm allergic to this story.
Blood. No worries, I am too. I was suffering, Mother. She ran the tip of the knife across her cheek.
I just came back from Popeyes.
Natalie tilted her head. But you did nothing. All her mother could do was shake and gasp constantly like a fish on land. Natalie grabbed her mother and gently set her down so her back was laid flat against the ground. She proceeded to sit on top of her and make a V cut on her chest. Her mother only gasped in shock, but her breath started to seem choked and gurgled. Natalie didn't have much time left. Time! What?
Whoa!
She proceeded to forcefully open her chest cavity with a loud crack and reached in and grabbed her mother's heart as it slowly beat in her hand. Its pulses were going dimmer and dimmer, and suddenly she ripped it out. Blood sprang all over her face. She stared her mother directly in the face as she slowly died. Sweet dreams.
Girl thinks she's Jeff the Killer.
It's time to go to bed.
You gotta go nappy nap.
She put the heart in her mother's mouth, patting her cheek softly, and stood up. She wasn't done yet. Natalie's father, David, had stirred awake and realized his wife had not yet returned yet. His eyes started to adjust to darkness when he suddenly realized Natalie, standing on his bed's side, smirking crazily with her green eyes glowing in the darkness. Blood was all over her and it was unbearable.
Her eyes are like those fucking glowing stars you put on the ceiling.
God. And she put on a fake, sad face. Oh dear. Mother's gone. I wonder who will get the money. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. She suddenly grabbed her father's forehead. That's all you ever cared about anyway. Her father, however, was a fighter. He sprung up and grabbed her by the neck and threw her to the ground. He started to stomp on her chest until she coughed blood and stared down at her. Doesn't it feel good, Daddy? She coughed with more blood. After all, you never seemed to mind doing it all those years ago, did you? He narrowed his eyes. You are my daughter. A wider smirk spread across her face. She looked at him with her glowing eyes of blood dripping down her mouth.
Okay, can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Fight scenes in creepypasta are always, like, the stupidest shit ever, I'm gonna be honest.
They're
spitting out one-liners like it's a fucking, like, Marvel movie. That just happened. Knife in my chest.
That one hurt.
You're right, I'm not.
Yeah. You're right, I'm not. She suddenly tripped him, causing him to fall on the floor. She got up, knives in hand. They say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. While he was winded, she grabbed a pillow and stuffed it in his face and started to stomp on his face. Harder and harder, hearing loud cracking noises after a while. She pulled the pillow away. His face was gruesomely mutilated. He was making muffled noises and crying in pain. What's the matter, Daddy? Paying too much for you? She stabbed both knives into his stomach, leaving them there as she ripped off one of the now heavy wooden poles from the bed. She set it down on his leg and took out the knives. Gonna need these. She chuckled and sat on the pole, laid on his leg. Suddenly she started to walk back while sitting down, the weight of her body on the pole. So they started to squeeze his innards up through his body. What?
I don't... Oh, is she trying to, like, rolling pin him? What the fuck?
She might actually be, I don't know. He started to gag, and blood poured from his mouth. His breath was silence, and she hit a bit of a snag. Come on! She stalled as she forced herself to walk back more late. Suddenly, his organs burst out of his mouth. The nasty gore piled onto the floor and the sides of his face. She nodded to his carcass and started to walk out. Your time's up, Daddy. Finally, this would be her favorite part. She quietly snuck into her brother's room, suddenly opened the door. Blood dripped from her knife, making a low tapping sound as one of the droplets hit the hard wood. Her brother wasn't in bed. It was apparent that he must be hiding somewhere. She grinned. You can read the rest.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh dear brother, come on now. She started to walk inside. All I want to do is have a little fun. As she stepped in more, she listened closely for any sounds, any breathing, any moving. She even sniffed the air for his putrid scent. And the closer she listened, she finally noticed something, a faint breathing noise. Whack! Your ass has been slapped with a trout. She fell to the ground, trembling. Her brother was behind her now, a bloodied baseball bat. Behind her with now, oh shit. Her brother was behind her with a now bloody baseball bat. He was glaring down with anger, panting in rage. He slowly started to get up, but he hit her again and again and again. Mother always did like you best, you bitch. You raped her. You raped her?
You should kill yourself?
Genuinely kill yourself? Oh, I think she should have killed you first.
Honestly, yeah.
He hit her hard one last time before taking a breather. She was breathing heavily. Her green eyes drooped and glowing faintly in the darkness. She felt weak, and looked closer up at the ceiling. She recalled the days she had spent in here being tortured, having to go through it for 4 years. Looking at that same damn ceiling, it sent a sudden rush of energy into her body. She started to stare and laugh insanely. Ah! She sounds like that. Trust me. Trust. Her brother went to hit her again, but used both of her knives to block it. Jesus Christ. Look at how this is. Look at the fucking camel case. I see it. Hell here looks like Heil, I'm gonna be honest.
God.
You're going to hell, brother? With a lurch push, she sent her brother flying on the bed. He hit his head against the wall and growled angrily, able to lunge at her. When she stabbed 2 knives to his arms, keeping him pinned on the wall, he screamed and struggled rapidly. Let's see what we can use here. She started walking around the room and struck seeing a simple butter knife on his bedside. She picked it up and walked over to him. What if that was a poop knife? Wouldn't that be fucked up?
That would be so fucked up.
They say that eyes are the softest organs on the body. She slowly licked the knife. Dude, come on. Soft as butter. He looked in horror, trying to get away. As she started to dig out his eyes with the knife, he shrieked loudly, and she quickly tied a cloth around his mouth. No, we can't have you waking the neighbors. He wasn't able to see anything. The pain was unbearable. Blood leaked violently from his eye sockets. He would cry, but was now incapable. She dug around for more items, picked up a pair of scissors. She walked over to him, crawling over him. I think you need to cut loose, brother. Why is there a tilty there? What? Wait, I don't like that.
Oh.
I don't like this story. I think that's obvious.
I don't like this story either.
She stabbed the scissors through his gut, and he cried out in a muffled scream of pain. She treated him like arts and cut out his vocal cords, damn it. Cutting through his skin like paper. She lifted up his large intestine and smirked wickedly. You know what I love? Macaroni art. She thought she was fucking slick with that one. She started to cut the intestines into sections. These might be a little too big to put on a plate, though. She could hear his brother. Oh, congratulations on his transition, I guess. His brother foaming blood from the mouth. However, he had to swallow the blood back because of the cloth around his mouth. Doesn't that taste good? She licked the blood off her fingers. I sure know I like it. He let out another muffled scream. She went down to his toes and started cracking them and ripping them off. You're not even gonna like pry them open with like a toothpick or something? Okay. One by one. After a while, his screams grew futile. His throat was raw and bloody by now. Next, she worked on his fingers, snapping them and ripping them off slowly. Okay. Me with carrots? The crackling became louder and he started to squirm. He was choking on his own blood. Good. This is like the most deserved death in bad creepypasta history.
It is.
She pulled the cloth down and blood poured from his mouth. He turned his head to the side and vomited violently. There, brother, she said, patting his head. Eat this and feel better. She stuffed one of his fingers in his mouth, making it jam to his throat. He choked and slowly died. Your time was up.
I think that actually, one of the most deserved ones is, I think, like, the fucking uncle from, Sally or some shit.
Too bad that's not on my, epic awesome season 1 list.
Season 2 though? We'll see.
Alright, you next?
Yeah. The girl, known as Natalie, walked into her room dripping blood. Off to the corner, she saw it. Her stuffed giraffe. She knelt down, stared at it, and then without a word, stood up and walked out of the room. Staring at herself covered in blood, she heard a faint ticking noise. She looked down and saw a pocket watch. She stared at its hands, slowly turning, listening to the ticking for what seemed like an eternity. She took out one of her now red knives as it dripped blood onto the counter. She grabbed the pocket watch and disassembled the watch until only the small clock was watch. Time makes you live through the torture, she said, slowly bringing the knife up to her eye. Slowly progressing through life, being controlled by society, she started to slowly dig into her eye as the vision in her left eye grew blurry and red. It's a vicious cycle. She felt it dangle out of her socket, a sharp pain where it was connecting to her head. Time does not speed up, it does not slow down, it is violent. She grabbed the cord of her eye and tore it right off, her eye falling in the sink. Makes you live through torture over and over again. She started to place the clock in her eye. Unable to fast forward from all of it, there was squishing sound and drips of blood until it seemed like the clock perfectly in her socket. I am Clockwork! The young 16-year-old girl, used to be known as Natalie, walked away from a burning house. The flames engulfed everything, and inside, the giraffe slowly burned, along with the carcasses of her family.
Some say she still lives on, carrying her insanity with her, leaving so many dead, saying she decided when their time should come to an end. The only way to detect her presence is if you're cuddled close in the covers at night, sleeping soundly. But in the darkness, she watches, she determines. You hear ticking, and you see a green flash of that putrid clock eye. I don't think the clock eye is the one that glows green. I think it's the one where she got slurp juiced.
Yeah.
If she is there, you know, comma, your time is up. All right, so that was that. So is chat, what do we think?
Oh my god.
Let's just see some of these 13 comments. I'm actually cringing at the incest part. Oh my god, who the fuck would put that in a story? Granted, all of the story is cringy. That is cringy, but also extends beyond into poor taste and fucked up as well. Just about everything in this shit is absolute train wreck. What do you expect, huh? So real. I don't.
Fuck is named Maribeth.
I need you to know that that person's name, like, username on here is Margaret Thatcher.
So that's where she went.
Yeah, she's commenting on troll pastas. That's all she can do in hell.
Fuck yes.
And yeah, that was Clockwork. Your time is up. That was surely one of the stories I've ever read. Let's see here. Tune in on the 23rd for when I read, let's see what's on here. Happy Appy.
Oh my god. You're gonna read Happy Appy next?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking peak.
Anyways,
I'm so excited to see that.
this was possible. I was your host, Gigi Star. This was my amazing, awesome guest.
Absol. I had lots of fun. Thanks for bringing me along, Gigi.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Breasty. I'll be linking her channel in the description. Go subscribe. She's so awesome. Smiles.
Smiles. Smells like Joyce and Wine.
Yeah. Catch you on the flip side, punks. Later. Smiles.